Hello, this is Professor Satish Kumar Soni, India, Bharat. I am presenting a video series on education technology. This particular series is particularly connected to outcome-based education for higher education institutions, Part 1. Second part will follow this particular video. Although the context of my discussions in higher education will be related to Bharat or India, but the ideas, concepts, and processes discussed will be applicable to all the countries of the globe. Let's move further. I shall focus more on why should we need OBE now for National Education Policy 2020 and what it should mean to us rather than trying to explain its implied concepts and mathematical processes. I shall try to connect need of OBE with a few recent unfortunate events and reports, and how better implementation of OBE could have avoided such bad instances. We need to protect the larger interest of our dear students rather than treating them as our simple clients. We must not treat our worshipable temple-like institution as an educational enterprise to generate profits at the cost of careers of our dear students who are going to take care of future growth of our beloved country. I assume that most of the audience understand the basic concepts of outcome-based education. Friends, my point of view in the context of situations in Bharat may give them some more ideas to improve quality of our pass-outs in near future. Outcome-based education. The definition. Outcome-based education means clearly focusing and organizing everything in an educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. No harm repeating the definition. Outcome-based education means clearly focusing and organizing everything in an educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. This has been given by William G. Spady in 1994. Why implement outcome-based education or OBE? Let us see some of the concepts, reasons, and justifications in next few slides. Today's problem and its possible solution. Problem of the graduates of higher education is high unemployment. Many fresh pass-outs are high scorers and good at communication skills, but jobs are not available. Despite of substantial vacancies, the on-campus and off-campus employment is low. Many campus selected graduates may not even be employed even after professional training in the companies. Perhaps the higher education institutions provide weak training in realistic problem-solving skills. This seems to be the major problem. So, what can be done? Shift focus and emphasis from teacher to learner. From teaching process to learning process. lecture method to other student-centric method utilization. Transforming old syllabus into new curriculum. Transforming new curriculum to more comprehensive OBE curriculum with guidelines to improve learning and teaching and assessment process. OBE curriculum to green OBE curriculum so that the environment can be taken care of. All these transitions and transformations are difficult to implement. We need to do a lot to overcome people's resistance to change. This will require patience, time, energy, and finances. What the Economic Survey of India says, to enhance employability of learners, the teaching and learning process must be changed. Online education has changed. Classroom teaching, experiential learning, problem-solving skills, and application-oriented approach to produce the better employability. Move towards a student-centric approach from a teacher-centric, which is a challenge and requires perpetual faculty development programs. The Economic Survey 2023 and 24 indicates that 65% of India's fast-growing population is below the age of 35. Of this, only 51.25% of the country's youth are employable. This is because they lack in problem-solving skills in the context of current fast-changing industrial and commercial sectors. The report highlights the fact that there exists a gap between what is taught in educational institutions and what is needed by industry and society. So, all these changes are required to be undertaken soon with lot of care. The priorities of higher educational institutions in the context of National Education Policy 2020 and regulations of NBA and UGC. NEP 20 says that the purpose of quality of higher education is more than creation of greater opportunities for individual employment. And further it says that higher education represents the key to more vibrant, socially engaged, cooperative communities and a happier, cohesive, cultured, productive, innovative, progressive, and prosperous nation. Prosperous nation can be only built only by highly skilled, qualified, educated citizens. And that is why the education sector must take care of making the citizens, the students, the clients of the educational institutions much more skilled, competent in the outcomes. And that is why outcome-based education policies are very important for higher education. Keeping this view in context, both NAC and NBA accreditations are mandatory. NAC accreditation is required to maintain affiliation with the university, and NBA accreditation is required to run the program with the content approved by AICTE, All India Council of Technical Education. Both certifications are based upon outcome-based framework, and to accomplish program outcomes, NAC expects institutions to educate the students with the awareness of program outcomes and course outcomes. It is not compulsory to maintain records of the accomplishments and attainments of COs, whereas in NBA, the evidence of achieving POs in terms of attainments of COs is mandatory. So you have to keep on recording the accomplishments and attainments of all the students and keep this record for showing to the regulators for quality assurance. This requires lot of data processing and lot of computing power, and it is highly desirable for all higher education institutions which are using outcome-based education policies, procurement of LMS systems or learning management systems. Continued priorities of NAP 20, NBA and UGC for higher education institutions. For better effectiveness, higher education institutions need to comply and implement OBE even before applying for NAC or NBA or ABET or HLSAT accreditation, whatever accreditation. This develops better understanding of the concepts and the processes implied in quality assurance accreditation. And faculty member and the system is better prepared for facing the regulators. Higher education institutions should be accredited with a minimum grade of A. Then and there, they can continue to exist in Bharat. Higher education institutions should be accredited by NBA, those who are offering AICTE approved programs, for at least 3 programs with a minimum score of 675 out of 1000 or 67.5%. In individual criteria or program with overall target of 75% and above. So, institutions who are performing better than first class only are authorized to continue and render educational services. OBE compliant degrees awarded by quality higher educational institutions are required for smooth global qualification equivalence and recognition. This is very important for students, those who want to get admissions in foreign universities, and for smooth global mobility of students, academicians, and research, those who are wanting to move from one country to another country for academic purposes or seeking jobs. Let us conclude why use outcome-based education policies for its advantages. OBE ensures clarity. Everyone, every stakeholders like students, teachers, and all other stakeholders understands the expected learning outcomes, that what the student should be able to do at the end of the program. OBE encourages flexibility, and therefore the faculty members are having autonomy to select and use different teaching strategies to achieve the same outcomes. This encourages innovations in learning teaching processes. OBE improves student success. OBE focuses on problem solving skills in the field environment, and these problems are very realistic, and on application oriented learning rather than on rote memorization. OBE enhances accountability. All the stakeholders, those who are responsible to manage institutions, teachers, can be made responsible for ensuring students achieve learning goals and survive in cutthroat competitions. This cutthroat competition is increasing day by day, and that is why outcome-based education is very much mandatory and compulsory and highly desirable for all higher educational institutions. Let us now focus on concept of outcome-based education and all other allied concepts to understand the philosophy of outcome-based education. Let us recall the definition of outcome-based education. Outcome-based education as given by William G. Spady is outcome-based education means clearly focusing and organizing everything in an educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. So, what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of learning experience? Concept: outcome-based education OB1. We present two definitions, standard definitions. OB is a student-centered learning and teaching approach that focuses on achieving specific, measurable outcomes instead of emphasizing traditional teaching methods. OBE ensures that students acquire the future work-related knowledge, skills, and attitudes to succeed in real-world scenario. Another definition is OBE is a learner-centric approach that prioritizes measurable achievements over traditional teaching methods, unlike rote memorization. OBE focuses on attainment of predefined outcomes, which are defined by the department offering a program that reflect the knowledge, skills, and attitudes students are expected to develop by the end of their educational program. Let us go through the fourth definition of outcome-based education. OBE is targeted at achieving desirable outcomes in terms of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behavior at the end of a program. Teaching with this awareness of creating evidences and making the associated efforts constitute outcome-based education. This entails a regular methodology for ascertaining the attainment of outcomes and benchmarking these against program outcomes consistent with objectives of programs, that is known as Program Educational Objectives, PEO. So after the definitions of outcome-based education. Let us see how outcome-based education entered in NBA accreditation. Initially, NBA accreditation used to be based on input process output model, which is a traditional model, with major emphasis on availability of resources and facilities and the outputs thereof. The output is nothing but the mark sheet and degree awarded by the university. In the year 2009, NBA aligned its methodology with international benchmarks by becoming a full member of Washington Accord and started accreditation based on outcome-based education philosophy. You will get much more information from NBA Accreditation Manual Tier 1, Tier 2, Higher Education Institutes, page 6, February 2025. You can download this manual from the website of NBA and go through and keep this as a reference for your future use. Let us understand implementation and evaluation of OBE. The institution first conducts SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of the institute and outside opportunities and threats to the institution. Based on that, the institute can decide the vision and mission. After that, the outcome statements are written and the curriculum is defined, and then the implementation is done. So in the institute, the input is defined, the learning processes are defined, and outputs are also defined. Output is nothing but the university mark sheet and the degree. Input is the curriculum and the teaching of the curriculum related courses, etc. After the passing of the examination, final examination, that is attainment of COs, the POs and PSOs are evaluated and institution may certify it, but institutions usually give only university degree and mark sheet. The accomplishment of PEOs can be only evaluated after 2 times the duration of the program. For instance, if it is an engineering graduation program, which is of 4 years, then you have to maintain the contact with the students for 8 years. The learning outcomes, whatever learning outcomes are coming, are being taken by the students from the institution. They are being tested in the world of work where he earns his livelihood. And to deal with so many students for continuously 8 years contact, you require a lot of computation and data processing. And that's why learning management systems have to be acquired by the institution. Without that, it is physically, practically very, very difficult to keep all these data and implement and evaluate the performance of the institution. Let us see how a faculty member and a student are related so that the learning outcomes are transferred from the experience and knowledge and skills and competence of the faculty member and the environment to the student. Learning outcomes are the result of faculty facilitation in accomplishing adequate intended learning by students using innovative strategies and resources which activate experiential and self-learning. Self-learning takes place mostly using electronic and print media in the library and in the classroom and outside the classroom. Large many number of multimedia and social media are in action to to promote interaction between faculty member and the student. The personality and the emotional intelligence of the student is polished using the experiences through social work, NCC, NSS, internship, and research project work. Thanks for listening me. You can continue this presentation in part 2 of video number OBE 1.2. For clarification, if any, contact Professor Soni at the given phone number. Please like and subscribe our channel if you wish to get more such useful short video programs.